Hi, everybody. Today I would like to talk about a 1969 film called The Magic Christian. And I think this is pretty weird to talk about here, but it's kind of my first viewing of this, really, my first full viewing. And I'm going to tell you my experiences with The Magic Christian before I watched it this time. Way back in August of 1980, it's almost 45 years ago, I attended a campus for a college where there was a college radio show about the Beatles that was played. It was played every Monday evening. And this was the first get together that they had. All the listeners of the show, well, there's a modest amount of listeners, maybe 20, 25 listeners that were regulars. It used to be a call in show. You could call in and talk to the hosts of the show and discuss Beatles on the phone. And they set up this get together. It was the first campus meeting of everybody who listens to the show. And as I say, I don't know, maybe a couple of dozen people showed up, and we had a really good day. What's noteworthy about that time in 1980 was it was August, and the news of the afternoon was John Lennon was back in the studio to record his new album, which at the time we didn't know the title of. We just knew it had to do with the reported sexual fantasies of people, men and women. That's what it was said at the time. So that's how long it's been since I had anything to do with this movie, because at this get together was a fan who was one of the only people that I knew, maybe the only person at the time that I knew who had a Betamax machine. He actually had a VCR, a video cassette recorder, and he had some Beatles stuff on tape. So we spent most of our day outside, on the campus, having a good time. But then we went back into the rooms and watched some footage. One of the things that he wanted to show us was The Magic Christian, which I had never seen before, but it was the old days. It was on a television set. It wasn't the right aspect ratio. We won't get into all that technical stuff here. But the bottom line is, it didn't really make any impression on me. And I don't even think I stayed to see the whole thing, because I'll tell you, The Magic Christian is not very good. It's not very good, okay? And in fact, as I go into this, I think you'll be interested where I find this at the end of my review, okay? So to start with, The Magic Christian, screenplay by Terry Southern, who wrote the book, and the movie differs from the book somewhat. But screenplay by Terry Southern and also Joseph McGrath, and Joseph McGrath was the director. Now, Ringo Starr has a role in this movie, a major role in here, along with Peter Sellers, the great Peter Sellers. And if you watch the movie Get Back, the Beatles Get Back, you notice that it starts out saying that Ringo has to film this movie, The Magic Christian, and they're really tight on time, how they're going to do their album, whatever they're going to do, or the show that they were supposed to do originally for Get Back. And Ringo's got to get going, so they keep trying to delay the start of the movie to film this. And what's interesting also that I didn't know going into this when I did a little bit of research was that the screenplay, originally as written, the character that Ringo would play was originally intended for John Lennon. John Lennon was in mind. And it baffles me. I don't think I know the reason why either John Lennon was not ultimately asked to do it, or why maybe he turned it down. Somehow we got Ringo instead. Now, the story is about Peter Sellers as a billionaire who just loves to throw his money around. I mean, he just can't get rid of his money fast enough, can't find ludicrous ways of spending it or throwing it at people. And he winds up coming across a homeless man in the park one day, that homeless man being Ringo, and he adopts him as his son. And then they just go around in a plot that makes really no sense at all. It's just a complete black comedy, which is okay. I like black comedy, and it's really hardcore British humor, very dry British humor, which I like as well. But I just found myself very bored by a lot of this and not really following a lot of it for the first half of it or so. Now, I got to tell you, though, I did find the second half of the movie, better than the first half. So this is a movie that if you're going to stick with it, I'm thinking just guessing here, that you'll like the second better than the first half. Okay? There's some chuckles here, some humorous moments, but I didn't really find anything drop dead funny. Some of the highlights that I liked here was, as I say, you have to understand it in the plot, as little as it is. You have this extravagant, eccentric billionaire trying to see basically what people will do for money, and how far will you go, and how much can you like embarrass people or humiliate people or whatever who want the money, or in some cases already have the money, the elite. And I would say that some of the highlights for me, if you can call them highlights in a movie like this that's not very good, there's a striptease during a live performance of Hamlet. For some reason, once adopted, Ringo, along with the dad, Peter Sellers, love to just go around and start crazy trouble and insanity. So they pay an actor during a live performance of Hamlet to do a striptease, shocking everybody. That's haha, Then later there's a scene I like where Ringo is reading a book on isometric exercises, and he's contorting his face, trying various expressions as he's reading about, while meanwhile, Dad, Peter Sellers, pays a policeman to eat a parking ticket. How much will he accept the money to eat that parking ticket that he's going to give them? And he also eats the plastic as well. I mean, that's how much he's willing to go for this. So kind of humorous. And then you have John Cleese, and we all know John Cleese in an earlier part, I would say, for him, as he plays a director at Sotheby's, and he has a painting of a Rembrandt that he only expects to see at an auction to get maybe £10,000, but Peter Sellers is willing to give him £30,000 right here and now if he'll sell it to him. So once he gives him that price, he's willing to, break the rules, and he'll sell it to him. And what does Peter Sellers do with it? He proceeds to take a pair of scissors and cut the nose out of the painting. Says, "I'm going to keep the nose. You can burn the rest." And I just think it's so crazy and stupid and silly that it's funny. And, John Cleese's reaction is priceless. And then there's an auction scene where Peter Sellers does all kinds of bizarre things while bidding on a painting. He shoots a dart gun at the auctioneer's forehead. I can't tell you everything he does. It's a funny scene, the auction. He does all kinds of movements and outrageous things, firing a gun into the air, all kinds of things to bid on the item. And I think that's kind of humorous, to tell you the truth. So I started to feel, as poor as this movie it was, I started to find it redeeming itself a bit in the last act. The last half, say, last 45 minutes, approximately. It's about 90 minutes. Anyway, then I'm just going to tell you about the end. Now, the title, The Magic Christian, where does this fit in? Well, it's the name of a ship that's going to depart from London, and Sellers and Ringo wind up getting onto this cruise ship, and everything's very normal at first until crazy things start to happen, such as Christopher Lee, the great actor, spoofs his Dracula image by being a vampire on the ship. I think he's billed as the ship's vampire. Okay. Then you have Yul Brynner, almost recognizable until he takes his wig off, as a man in drag that's actually trying to romantically entice Roman Polanski, the director, who's the only drinker sitting alone at a bar. So that's insane. Things keep getting weirder and weirder. And finally, near the end of this, we have the gorgeous sex symbol Raquel Welch coming on when they get down into the motor of the ship and everybody's running around. She plays what is called the priestess of the whip. And she's commanding a galley of topless women in loincloths, whipping them, kind of presumably driving the ship as they're rowing the ship. And it turns out all along, surprise, surprise, is that this was not really a real ship. This was just a warehouse, and everybody's fooled. I mean, it's just utter insanity. And some people will say, this is just ridiculous. Why would I bother with such a thing? Other people are going to have their curiosity aroused. And I got to tell you, this was pretty humorous in an offbeat way. This kind of insanity. Now, the ending is disgusting. I was debating whether I should tell you about it, but I'll kind of word it as gently as I can. As I say, the movie is about money and what people are going to do. What lengths will they go to? Well, at the end of the movie, you have Peter Sellers and Ringo Starr wearing gas masks as they conjure up a vat consisting of blood, urine, and animal feces, okay, and whip it up and see if they can get people to dive into it or to go underwater as they throw money in there. They have put up a sign up that says free money here. And then sure enough, they get some volunteers that are willing to do anything for the money to go into the gook. All right. And while they're doing this, the song Something in the Air by Thunderclap Newman is playing on the soundtrack. So this is really odd, okay? But crazy fun too at the end. Anyway, I've got to talk about the song, the theme song really for this, Come and Get It. Come and Get It is a song that Paul McCartney wrote, and it was performed by Badfinger. And I have to tell you, as much as I enjoy the song Come and Get It for what it is, it's very simple, not much, but it's enjoyable. I think in this movie, when you think of the lyrics, it really fits. Stuff like, if you want it, here it is, come and get it. Make your mind up fast. And then it's stuff like, did I hear you say there must be a catch? Will you walk away from a fool and his money? All this kind of stuff. It's all about that theme of what money can do for you. Even though it's kind of convoluted and kind of dull in the beginning. I can't really, if I was going to rate the film, because I rate films on 4 stars, not 5. I would give it only 2 out of 4. I mean, but I still think that it's worth seeing. First of all, if you like Ringo, you like the Beatles, it's worth seeing for Ringo. How does Ringo perform in here? Ringo at times is quite good, and at times he's just kind of window dressing. It's funny to me. Ringo was always the best actor in the Beatles, and I think he has his moments here. I really do, where it's kind of humorous and he kind of shines and makes proper reactions and things. Other times he just seems like somebody just going along, walking around near Peter Sellers just for the ride. So yeah, I'm happy to share this with you. Happy I got a chance to see it. And it's funny that even though I was ready to just throw in the towel the first half, by the end I said, I'm glad I saw that. It's really, really stupid and fun. Not good though.